All right, so it's time to start the Rock Fest, and we're going to kick it off with the man, the myth, the legend, the new Boston Bad Boys themselves from Crash Midnight, Mr. Shaun Soho. Shaun, welcome to Totally Driven Radio.
How you guys doing? I like that introduction.
You like that? How about you? Have you ever been to a drive-in movie theater?
I actually have. We discovered one out a little bit west of Boston in a place called Mendon. It's about a 45-minute drive, but it was worth going out to.
And I know I'm a lot older than you, and he's been to a drive-in movie theater. I'm really slacking here, guys. How about that?
It's a good time. I'd recommend it.
Yeah, well, here's a question for you, since you guys both have been to a drive-in movie theater. And can you actually, say if you were sitting in the back seat, can you see the screen good?
Well, there was a friend of ours that had a pickup truck, so we turned the whole truck around and we put what do you call those folding chairs in the back and everything. Yeah. The biggest problem we ran into was it's buggy as all hell out there, so that was the challenge of the evening. But you drink enough and you're fine.
Nice,
nice.
There you go.
We brought coolers and blankets and chairs and stuff and made a whole picnic out of it. It was pretty cool.
Oh, so you don't technically have to stay in the car. You can pull chairs out and just hang out.
It's basically tailgating at this point. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. There's no real rule. There's nobody there to enforce the rules. You know what I mean? There's no usher or anything like that. But even most of the ones that I've been to even have a spot up in the front where you can, like a grass place where you can put blankets and stuff. So yeah, there's a lot of variation.
Wow. Okay, I got it now. All right, I'm on that. All right, so thanks for the advice, guys. All right, so Shaun, Crash Midnight, educate us, teach us, let us know how long you guys been together, how'd you get started, fill us in.
Educate you guys, huh? Well, we started out in the mid-2000s. We were trying to figure out what sound we wanted to go with, and we were bouncing a lot of stuff off. It was myself and my brother, Bo, who's our bass player. And our lead guitarist, Alex Donaldson, just moved up to Boston, and we ended up hitting it off really quickly with him. He was 18 years old at the time. And it was almost instantaneously we landed on the sound that we wanted, a hard blues-driven rock sound with a lot of punk influence coming in from it, from the 70s punk stuff, much more the blues influence stuff than the 1, 2, 3, 4, fast stuff. But
right.
Yeah, that's pretty much. And then it took a couple of years to really gain any traction, and once it started, it's just kept going.
So you guys been around the block for a little while.
We have. We've had that. I don't know. I guess it's kind of the guy coming on next to could attest to it. There's a lot of lineup changes and stuff you go through while you try to figure out where you're going. So yeah, no, but it took a little while for us to get the right players involved, and it actually took our lead guitarist Alex. His father suddenly passed away, and he actually had to go home for a couple of years back to Columbus, Ohio. And in his absence, it was just definitely a really tough thing for us because he's like family. He basically grew up with us. We're moving here as an 18-year-old kid, but actually having him step away from the music for a couple of years and having us bring in some other guys that had a little bit different take on it. After hearing it for the first time. It actually matured the songs and brought them to where they wouldn't have been if we had just kept rehashing the same stuff. Sometimes you have to step away, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, and you said about your influences from some 70s rock. Well, actually, a couple of the influences I saw you guys listed, I was like, yes, finally. Because I don't hear it much, but two of my all-time favorite bands, the New York Dolls and Hanoi Rocks.
Oh, God, yeah. New York Dolls are just, I feel like the easiest way to describe New York Dolls to a layman is this is every badass Rolling Stones song you've ever heard, even more badass. They are just the toughest, meanest sounding Rolling Stones stuff, and they've got that great jangle to them. That's what hooks me with punk music is the guys that have that kind of thing. The Johnny Thunder solo, Heartbreaker stuff, and when they have the blues influence, I go for it a little bit more. Our bass player Bo is a little bit more on the 1, 2, 3, 4 punk stuff. He's all about the Ramones, and it's kind of almost a Beatles versus Rolling Stones type of an argument when it gets to that with he and myself. But then I could talk all night about Hanoi Rocks. Those guys, I mean, our album is Lost in the City. Like, that's an homage to those guys with the amount of influence they had over us.
Yeah, you know, I kind of figured that was a little Hanoi Rocks tie
Yeah.
in there.
Yeah.
And that's just a band right there that was just way before their time.
They really were. You know, I mean, I hear everything from The Clash to Aerosmith to Rolling Stones in them, and it's all their own stuff. And lyrically, I just, you know, that's my desert island catalog is going. I can listen to that all day long. And some of the stuff, you know, especially that Andy McCoy and just the way that they worked the guitars in that, and definitely, you know, Slash and Izzy had that going on, and you know, it's so much more listenable because you're not playing the same stuff. I mean, Keith Richards was all about that too. It's just you don't ever play a line the same twice. So every single time you're not hearing that Pro Tools like, hey, let's cut and fly these, you know, this verse and call it a day and create this thing in 2 seconds. It's a lot more artistic, I think, and it's much more interesting to me as a listener.
Absolutely. And going back to the Dolls real quick too, a lot of people, I don't think they even realized that when the Dolls got back together, you know, a few years back, they put out 3 new albums. The last one, you know, I wasn't too crazy about, but them first 2 that they put out with that new lineup were freaking phenomenal and incredible rock and roll records that, you know, you can compare up there with the Stones. So if anybody wants to hear some real good rock music and you'd be shocked, check out them Dolls albums.
Yeah, they actually they recorded the Dance Like a Monkey stuff in the same studio that we did our first version of our album in
cool.
In New York City. Yeah, that was like one of the big hooks for us. We're like, oh yeah, let's go down here and record there. It was, I'm trying to remember. There were a lot of really great bands that had gone through there. Alice Cooper had recorded an album at that place, and we're like, oh, Alice did it in New York Dolls. Let's go there.
Absolutely sold. So, all right. So, we were saying, did you guys have any full-length releases out before, or you have your first one coming out in October?
No, and it's funny. We've had a couple of EPs. The way we got signed, actually, was we put out I think it was a 4-song EP with 1 demo on it, because we had something that was kind of ready and not all the way ready, so we tossed it on as a bonus track. And that sold out of like 3,500 copies in about 2 months one summer. And all of a sudden we had a lot of people calling us. And I would say about half of the songs on that have actually made it all the way through to this debut release. And this debut release, I keep kind of saying it's a debut greatest hits album, because really, you know, having been together for a number of years now, we've had a whole bunch of songs that we've written. We've kind of weeded out the ones that weren't going so well, and we've really honed in on the ones that were. And now this is kind of, you know, we hope this is going to be our, you know, Boston debut album, or our Appetite, or that kind of thing, where it's just every single song, somebody's going to find every single song to be their favorite song, you know?
Right. Now, you guys are from Boston, and I was wondering, like, did you guys, like, have you stuck to play in the Boston area, or have you guys been out touring around? I mean, how did it just blow up for you guys?
Well, we did a couple of tours over the years. We've done, I guess, our first few tours were kind of starting as Boston as the hub, and then heading out towards where Alex is from in Columbus, Ohio, and hitting everything in between there. So going through the Michigans, going through, you know, the all the Northeast, and then we actually went all the way down. I think the farthest down we've been is Georgia. I think that was the lowest we ever went down there. And then like Tennessee and stuff. I don't know. I'm not a great geography major here, so it's kind of as we get lower in the U.S., that's kind of where we topped out. And then just recently, we just got off the road with Seven Dust, and with them we explored the great North Midwest, all the way up to the tip top of North Dakota, which was very interesting. Apparently, I have Sprint for cell phone service, and that just doesn't exist up there, so that was a challenge.
Wow. Now, how was that for you guys? I mean, you're out there with Seven Dust, who's one of the big players in the game, and I mean that had to be like a whole new experience, big time for you guys.
You know, they were some of the coolest guys out there. Their entire crew, the tour manager Mac was just everybody was so on point and so like, you know, how can we help you, and like, you know, making everything run smoothly. It was a really cool tour for us, and we'd actually kind of got because obviously, you know, Seven Dust and Crash Midnight don't really have exactly the same type of sound. There's definitely more heavier and that stuff. But when we were cutting our teeth here in Boston coming up, that was the sound that was around Boston. We always had to go out and, you know, here was this like rock and roll band coming out and playing, you know, something other than just power chords and stuff. And we had to go out and we had to win over those type of audiences. And so, you know, we always felt that was when we were at our best, when we felt like these guys are here to see somebody else, some other type of sound. Now we got to go out and go way over the top to try to win these guys and get their attention. And to us, it was just, you know, another day at the park, because we've been doing that for years. So, yeah, it was really cool. And some of the reactions were great. We had guys charging up from the back row with, you know, the freaking devil hordes held up high, running to the front, just plowing people out of their way, like, holy shit, you know, this is what's going on over here. So it was very cool.
Now, I'm sure you guys have probably experienced this before over the years, but when you're playing with a band like Seven Dust, it becomes like a whole new thing. Like my best friend, who I played in the band with for 16 years, we broke up, but he plays in like 4 or 5 bands at a time. And one of the bands he was singing in, they were opened at one of the big buildings here in Philly for Danzig, and it was like his first real experience on a big stage and for a real big name band. And he's like, dude, he like called me up afterwards. He's like, dude, like, it's a whole nother world. He goes, you show up, he goes, and you play the show. He goes, you're not allowed to touch anything. Like, they got, you know, the road crew handles everything. They move everything. He's like, you just show up, you hang out, you eat. He's like, you do your show, you come off stage, and that's it. And they take care of everything for you. He's like, it was so weird coming from, you know, playing clubs for years, and you're hauling all this stuff and up and down steps of clubs or wherever, to where you don't touch a thing.
Yeah, it definitely is nice having, you know, the extra hands and the help like that. It's also a little nerve-wracking, too, because you're like, you know, I always have control over my instruments, and I always have control over, you know, my stuff, and now it's in somebody else's hands who's moving it God knows where and could drop it at any point and that stuff. And I think I left a trail of lost equipment on this road. I lost I had custom painted out these maracas that had like all different song lyrics and stuff on it and designs from over the years, and I lost one of those somehow. It's probably Alex's fault, though, because I think it was in the bag that all his equipment was in, and he throws things all over the place all the time. But yeah, you know, we're losing. My wireless broke. Like, yeah, there were a whole bunch of things. But yeah, it's definitely it's a cool experience, you know, when you finally feel like, all right, you know, you've made it to that next level, and all of a sudden, you know, there's people helping you. But we're very much, you know, the simple, you know, type of performance here, where we want to, you know, have control of the stuff. Just let us set up, we'll play. You know, it doesn't matter if it's an arena or if it's, you know, in a backyard.
Right on. Now, how about, I mean, you guys have a few singles out that are available on iTunes, but the one thing I noticed, which I praise whenever I see this, and I'm so happy that bands do this, you guys have videos, and it seems to be huge for you guys, because, I mean, you're getting a lot of views off of it. How important has video been for you guys?
Well, I think the video really drives home who we are. Because, you know, you hear the stuff, and I hear our recordings, and I'm, you know, taking nothing away from how much I love our recordings, but I hear those, and then I hear us perform it live, and it's just a different thing, and it's so hard to capture that live energy on a recording. And I think the video really does kind of bring home to life that, you know, this band is everything that you want it to be when you hear it. And that was really important to us, is that we weren't just going to be like another one of those bands that kind of goes half in, you know, they're accountants by day and, like, you know, holding it down in the rock clubs at night. We kind of sold everything we had. We all moved into a 2-bedroom apartment. There were 5 of us there, sometimes 6 of us, jammed in, and we wrote songs, and we did our, you know, whatever else was going on in there that'll probably lose you a couple sponsors if I go into too many of those stories. But that was what this band was about. And I think when you see the videos and you see all our videos are trying to really bring home the live performance. And I think that's where everybody's getting hooked, is they're seeing, this band, we're trying to make it as for real as possible.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, too, I know for myself, and I'm sure that a lot of people feel the same way. How many times have you heard a song, and maybe you heard it on the radio, you heard it like at a friend's house or something, and you don't really have your mind set on it, and you're just like, eh. But then when you see the video, it puts it into a whole new perspective, and you're like, yes, I dig it.
I think that's definitely it, and for me, a lot of times that hook is when you go out and see that band live too. I found so many times, you see that live performance, and you're just like, oh man, that song. Now I really get that song. I really like that song, and that's why, again, it was important for us to really center the videos around the live performance. Because I think that's our biggest strength is, we love being out on the road. We love playing for crowds. I mean, that's what we got into this for. We didn't anticipate being cramped up in a studio for 2.5 years is what it almost ended up being between two different recordings of the album. But, we were just itching to get out there and play live, and I think it all comes through on the videos. And what you see is what you get. That's our live performances, both blowing fire, somebody's falling over something. It's kind of like controlled chaos, or maybe uncontrolled chaos, I guess.
Well, let me ask you this, because there's something I was thinking about, too, with the whole video thing. And in this day and age, I mean, there's many different things between your YouTubes and, social media and stuff like that. So I was thinking, what do you think has been the most important aspect for your guys' success so far? Do you think it is the world of social media, your videos, your live shows, or just the music?
Well, I think what's really hooking people is just how the music stands out to a lot of what's out there right now. And it doesn't, there's always, when you talk to your radio promoter and you talk to those guys that have to market the stuff, there's always a question of it has to fit in with whatever, the stations are playing, whatever's current out there. And ours, we just kind of get time and time again, people come back and they're like, yeah, it sounds modern, but it's got so much of that classic influence. Like, I hear that you guys listen to Alice Cooper. I hear that you guys listen to, 70s Aerosmith or Guns N' Roses or whatever it is. And it seems to be that it hit the nail on the head of being able to stack up next to that modern sound, but also stand out from it at the same time. And people say exactly what you said, is finally. That's the word we hear the most, is finally. This is what I've been, waiting for. And that's why we started the band. We're fed up with what was on the radio, and we're like, well, hell, if nobody else is going to make it, then we'll make it.
Nice. Now, also, too, you have a song, Welcome to Boston, which is, I guess, very popular in Boston, and a lot of the Boston sports teams use it.
It is, yeah. The Patriots picked it up last season, and we're playing it during the games, and they actually invited me to sing the national anthem before the Browns game last year, which ended up being one of the greatest comebacks. It probably shouldn't have had to be a great comeback, but it ended up being a great comeback. And it was kind of a bittersweet thing, too, because Gronkowski ended his season that game, too. So we were just like, got to see a great comeback, sang the national anthem, lost our star tight end. But that was an amazing experience. We've got a lot of friends over there, and they've done some great things for us. They got the song in there first, and then they worked us through to get the anthem going, and just the support that we've seen from Boston. Just there's not another city like it. It's sometimes it's like a sibling thing. They'll talk bad about you all day long, but the minute somebody else does, everybody rallies behind you. It takes care of whoever's. And it really is. That's this city. It's small, but it's it's big enough that it's got the notoriety, but it's small enough that everybody kind of knows each other, and and Welcome to Boston's been a huge one for us.
That must be like, as a kid, who grew up in Boston, to have your song being played like at a Patriots game. I mean, that must be mind blowing.
It's really cool, and some other guys have picked it up. The Bruins played it a little bit during their playoff run, and we're working on getting stuff going for next season with them. And Boston College football was playing it. Actually, I got to sing an anthem for the the Boston College men's ACC home opener last season too. So that was really cool. BC's been very supportive of us as well. And it's kind of funny that the Welcome to Boston song, that song was an old song called Nothing to Lose that we felt had kind of a very trite name, and we wasn't even going to be on the album. And then we started playing around with some stuff, and the Patriots had come to us and asked about, or some of the guys that we knew at the Patriots had asked about, hey, you guys have any like Boston songs or whatever, pump up songs or whatever. And as we were thinking about it, we wrote Nothing to Lose literally about the mentality of Boston, where at any given moment, somebody's going to spit on you or like drop the gloves and try to fight you in the middle of the street.
Right.
But then also just how the strange way that we're so proud of that as Bostonians. Of course that's our culture. If you grew up in here, And we just kind of stopped beating around the bush with it. And we're like, well, hell, let's just make this. Let's call it what it is. Welcome to Boston. So it's kind of like a tongue-in-cheek, greeting to our city.
That's awesome. Now, how about when you're singing a national anthem? I mean, I would crap my pants. I mean, you're in front of like at a Patriots game, in front of 60,000 people.
There were 70,000, I think. I was doing that. Yeah, it was a lot. Best advice for a kid at home is
140,000 eyes staring at you.
Yeah, well, the toughest part is wear earplugs because I've told the story a couple of times, but the delay from when you sing to when you hear that come back out of the speakers, it's about 3 or 4 words in. So,
wow.
You're already like, you've already said, oh, say, can you see, and now you're starting to hear, oh, at the beginning, and it's just, it's wild. So it was honestly one of the biggest concentration exercises I've ever had to take part in. But yeah, singing an anthem, wear earplugs because the delay on that will kill you.
Yeah, or you can end up like a Roseanne Barr situation.
Right, exactly, and I think that's everyone's biggest fear. So, but it wasn't bad. Once you got into it, and you kind of like, okay, I'm going to block that out, and it was fine. But it was the first couple notes were like, whoa.
Wow. All right, I got the single queued up, 151, which you guys have a video for, and I got to tell you, as I'm watching the video, all I wanted to do was like start making some cocktails and drink some cold ones.
That's what we were going for, The whole song, the 151 came together as a complete joke, like a lot of things that we do. It was right when we first started, we were out drinking 151. It was the cheapest thing we could get our hands on and get us all drunk for, $16. And it wasn't even the Bacardi stuff. It was stuff made like 2 towns over from Boston here in Somerville. It was called like Ruba something or other. I don't know. It was terrible. But so we would all plow through that stuff. And, while we were in some sort of state of whatever, we were, I guess Night Train came on. And so we were kind of spoofing off that thing. And it'd be like, oh, man, they were drinking Night Train. But we're drinking this thing that's flammable. So, we were kind of writing like different lyrics over Night Train. And then it just kind of, people were like, oh, I kind of like that song, So we started screwing around and playing it at parties and whatever, just acoustic or whatever. And they kept asking for it, so we started playing it at shows. And then eventually it was like becoming so popular that, we kind of decided, well, maybe we should make this like a real song and not just, the Weird Al version of Night Train. So we ran it through some paces, but it's so funny that sometimes the best stuff comes together from complete accident like that, and it's taken on a life of its own.
That's awesome. All right, well there's the story behind it, and here's the song, Crash Midnight, 151. Drink up. All right, there it is, Crash Midnight, 151. Sean, put down your drink. It's time to talk again.
Yeah, I was going to say, you guys get a buzz off of that, a little contact?
So, all right, so that single, as well as your other singles, are available on iTunes, and the full length, when's that come out now? It's October?
Well, yeah, the full length right now is available on iTunes for pre-sale, and if you get it, you get it for a couple bucks off. I think it's $7.99 instead of $10.99 or whatever the heck they charge eventually. Nice. But you get it for a couple dollars off, and you'll get an unreleased song that's up there right now called "Take It," which there will also be a music video coming for.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Keep the videos coming, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, we've got the access to a couple video cameras here, so we try to have people follow us around, and we delete the incriminating stuff, or at least most of it.
or just save it for future, future use.
I know. Future blackmail use.
Absolutely.
Keeps people in line.
So, all right, so you were saying that you did some dates earlier this month with Seven Dust and actually Gemini Syndrome as well. Any more dates coming up with those guys, or any dates in general coming up?
Well, we're actually, we're about to announce a pretty major U.S. tour here that I don't have the contract to be able to announce yet. But we should be talking about this by probably next week.
Oh, cool.
And it will be a U.S. tour, about a 30-dater.
Nice. Very good. Big things happening. Crash Midnight.
Big things,
to blow up.
We'll be out on the road this fall, a whole bunch. So we should be around. Just check back in about a week, and then there should be some good stuff there.
Awesome. All right. So where can everybody find you? I know Twitter at SHAUN SOHO, and the band's at Crash Midnight. Any place else we can find?
At Crash Midnight. Yeah, actually, the at SHAUN SOHO thing I think was a placeholder that they set up for me a while ago. I don't even touch that at this point. I haven't had the time, but it is there. You can check it out. So at Crash Midnight for Twitter, Facebook. We're on Facebook too, and all the links to everything are on crashmidnight.com.
Nice, cool. All right, well, good luck. If you come by Philly, let's hook up. I'm not doing the 151 though. Although, well, let's see when you guys announce where you guys are coming. If you're coming to Philly, we'll try to work something out.
I just have a feeling that we might be seeing you in the very near future. So, keep that as under your hat as you can.
It's under the hat.
Okay. Well,
cool.
thank you
Sean,
for having
thanks so
me
much.
here.
Yeah, man, no problem. Good luck, and I hope to see you soon.
All right. Take care, guys.
You too, man. See ya.
Okay.
All right, everybody, there he goes. SHAUN SOHO with the band Crash Midnight. Coming soon to a town near you. Check them out on iTunes. Go to their website, crashmidnight.com. All the links are up there. You can do that.